Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the musicians and the artists that I visit with and the show, please be sure and hit the like button below and also subscribe to the channel. Will Potter is an English bassist who is a founding member of indie rock band Cud. The band formed in Leeds in 1987. Original members were Carl Puttnam, vocals, Mike Dunphy, guitar, keyboards, Will on bass, and drummer Steve Goodwin. All but Steve Goodwin are still with the band. Cud had an original run from 1987 to 1995, reforming in 2006, and are still going strong today. Spanning the band's career, there have been 5 albums, a couple of compilation releases, and a plethora of singles. This year has seen a flurry of live gigs from the band, including a Summer Seaside Tour just ended last month. Coming up in November, there will be a concert in London celebrating the 35th anniversary of the album Leggy Mambo, where the band will play the entire album live, and more shows to follow. By the way, my guest has also worked in comic strip art, as well as editorial work, and has written a series of nonfiction and activity books for children. Well, welcome, Will.
Hello. All right.
Thank you for being here and taking time out to visit. Will, take us back a few years. Where were you born?
Yeah, where was I born? I was born in Derby, which is in the Midlands.
Okay.
And the rest of the band, Carl was born in Ilford, Essex, near London. Mike is from the northeast, near Durham. Steve, I think he was, Steve, I'm not sure. I think he was born in the south somewhere.
Okay.
But Goggs is Leeds born and bred, our new drummer, that is. The band met in Leeds as students.
Well, let me go back before you jump ahead to that.
Okay.
That's all right. That's what a lot of people do. They want to get into the
I don't have the Wikipedia page in front of me here.
Okay, that's all right. I usually like to ask some background info, some early questions, of the early life. Was there was there uh, was there music in the household early on?
No, not at all. I mean, I was the only kind of book reader and record collector in the house I grew up. I love music. I did go to lots of gigs when I could, but I lived in the countryside, so there weren't that many opportunities. So I was very eager to follow up on that when I became a student, and that affected my choice of Leeds, because Leeds, especially the fine art course I chose, had a long history of bands such as Soft Cell, Scritti Politti, Fat Gadget, and yeah, that was on the back of my mind that I need to go to our college to band.
Right.
I did play bands at school. The kind of bands I played at school were a mixture of either synth pop bands or punk rock. And I was once in, for a while, I was in an AC/DC cover version band.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Orangutan.
Orangutan, really? Well, was the bass the first instrument you picked
No,
up?
I was the drummer originally, and I picked up the bass for the AC/DC covers band, and so that was the instrument I took with me to Leeds. So
you mentioned
later with when Cut started, we already had guitarist. Well, actually, Carl, the singer, was the bass player.
Well, you mentioned a few bands and Scritti Politti. You mentioned it. What was the? Can you remember one of the first singles or albums that you got
from those bands? Or
no, just at all.
They're not cool. They're not cool. The first single was by the Osmonds.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
Going Home, but it was a Merrill Osmond song, so it was a bit raunchier. Going Home, check it out. It's like on a par with Crazy Horses, really.
Okay.
ABBA's Greatest Hits was the album.
Oh, well, ABBA at the time, when they were flourishing, when they were so popular, it wasn't real cool to say you were into ABBA. But with the years, looking back on it, they're a very good band. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, when I was a preteen, it didn't really matter. Cool didn't matter. And because I lived a long way from any record shops, and I didn't know anything about like late night radio. I just listened to pop radio. I was heavily influenced by adverts and the charts. So
Right.
I just hear these songs and say, "Mom, can you go to when you go to Derby, can you buy this cassette album for me?"
Yeah. Well, a lot. I think a lot of people's first single or album is pretty cringeworthy because you're so young. I think I might beat you here. Mine was. Do you remember the Royal Guardsmen that did the Snoopy versus the Red Baron?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. Those albums, Snoopy for President and Snoopy versus the Red Baron.
I
So yeah.
presume because you were a fan of Peanuts.
Yes, that
Yeah.
too. Yes, that too. And I think my first 45 was the Fifth Dimension, Aquarius. Yeah, I think that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if you've done your research on Cud, you'll know that there's an Aquarius link there.
Ah, yes. Well, before you were in art school, were you in any band there prior to Cud?
Slightly. There was a band who were the year above us called Ritz and Rats and Rotzer, all art students in that, and I was really jealous. So I want to get in this band. I
Yeah.
did have an opportunity to play in the band once, and so did Carl, our singer. Um, but yeah, and we kind of formed early. Cud. It was just an art thing to begin with. Carl was, as I said, he picked up the bass. I played drums, and it was just a couple of guys who on guitar. In fact, what came first was the gig. The original singer, who we call Elvis Belt, blagged a support slot to a psychobilly band, and he didn't have a band. He just got a set. He convinced the promoter he had a band looking for a support slot, and then we had a week to form the
Yeah.
band and write some songs and rehearse.
Oh, is that right?
We came up with about 4 songs that
Yeah.
were kind of average, but surprisingly, one of those songs actually made it through to when we finally made records later. And I know you listened to the first Peel session, and there's a
Yeah.
song called "For the Boss," and that
Yeah.
was one of the first songs we played that on our very first show.
I've heard of stories too doing these how people will sneak their way into gigs and things. One guy talked about, he said, we're roadies for the band, the main band, and let them come in, but it was their own equipment. you know
Yeah, well, it was a total blag, and
yeah,
then we had a laugh, and because we were art students, it was all about, having a lark and doing something in front of public. It went away, and then 6 months later, a completely different lineup of the band got together, had another couple of songs. 6 months later, another version came. So it wasn't actually till about 1987 when the four of us, as it were, came together. And that was a result of Mike seeing me and Carl doing it just the two of us playing. We had
is
a
that right?
synthesizer going, doing like a program
Yeah,
with a drum machine. I was playing fuzz guitar, and Carl was singing. And Mike came up and says, "Hey, I'm a guitarist.
yeah,
Do you need a guitarist?" And I said, "No, we need a bass player." No, actually, no. He offered to be a bass player, and I said, "No, I'm the bass player." Despite what I was playing on stage, we need a guitarist. So he actually went and bought a guitar for £50 through a catalogue, so we could rehearse a week later. And he played bass, he played piano, he played violin, but not much guitar. And he just picked it up
really.
pretty quickly. And obviously then he became an amazing, prolific songwriter for the band. We were really lucky. He
Right.
came forward.
Right. Well, who coined the name Cud? Where did that
Well,
come
I had nothing to do with that.
from? Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those things that band comes up with a name without thinking of the future. You
Yeah.
think like, oh, that's a funny word. Let's call ourselves that. It's short. It will look big on posters, and then when you have a smidgen of success, you're like thinking like, it's not a very good name. We could do with changing it. But then you worry that the 50 people that
Right.
came to the last gig will
Right.
never find it.
Right.
We did genuinely think about changing the name before we did our first Peel session and did our first record, but no, we
Yeah. But yeah, you would
love
lose
it.
that. You would lose that momentum, like you said, if you change the name. Yeah. Well, speaking.
It's not a name. I don't love the name, but I kind of stuck with it. It's because I think the band became something more than what we began as when we were like an art student project and a bit noisy and a bit messy. But then we, incredibly, we had success and chart in the charts, and but the name Cud just didn't it didn't sound glamorous.
Right.
So there's a kind, it attracts a certain kind of fan that
Yeah.
is never cool.
Yeah.
So we attract the fans that, you know, they like us because we're not cool.
Because you're not. Right. Right. We'll talk about the logo. Who designed the logo?
Oh, that was probably me. The early logo, obviously the U in it, I just added teats to make it like you know, a cow's udder. And I
Yeah.
did it originally in a very like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck style. So and I drew that on the early demo tapes. And then we did we hired some Leeds Poly Fine Art students after we left to design a record sleeve for us, our third single, Slack Time. And
Yeah.
they kind of did like a stretched photocopy kind of version of the logo, and that stuck. We really liked that. And despite various t-shirts and various album styles, we always go back to that one. And the good thing about the logo is we can just use the U with the kind of like what have become squiggles underneath, and people recognize that as the band.
And recognizable.
God,
Immediately recognizable. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Well, that's a good sign there. You know that it's lasted this long, like you said. Well, what about the other guys in the bands? What kind of influences did they have? Did they bring to the band?
Well, Mike, I can only guess his influences from the names he had written in biro on his first bass on his first guitar case. Like the Jam, the Rolling Stones, and Nine Below Zero. So he was like I think he liked the Police and that. I say he was a bass player, so he really was keen on like Bruce Foxton sound, or you know, Sting sound, or like really prolific bass players who could also sing as well.
Right.
I can't even speak when I'm playing bass. I can just nod.
Yeah.
To be able to have the two muscles working at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, he came from there, you know, and he knew his music. He introduced the band to things like the key change, which was like, oh wow,
mind blowing. Yes.
a middle eight. What is that?
Right. Right.
The early stuff. I was writing a lot of early stuff, and it was just like, I suppose it's a bit like, you know, the band The Fall. It was a little bit like that. You get a riff, play it several times, then you play with the next riff and just keep going until fade. And Mike says, hey, you know, why don't we bring it up here? And why don't we bring it down here? And say, wow, dynamics. Oh,
right.
You're like a proper band now.
Yeah, there you go. I had reached out to you know, the new Jam, you know, with Bruce and a new lead singer.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to talk to Bruce, you know, and the agent came back and said, well, you can talk to I can't even think of his name, the new singer. You can talk to him. And I'm like, no, that's okay, because I wanted to talk about the history, you know, going back, you know, the times that not just the new stuff, you know. So you know,
It's still the new stuff. Is that?
Yeah.
I know. It still seems like they play after the Jam.
Yeah.
They play like setting sun anniversaries for setting suns and stuff like that. So it is all about the old stuff.
Yes, right. And the new singer wouldn't have the memories, you know, wouldn't be able to talk about the old days and that kind of stuff. So as well.
Yeah.
And
I didn't finish anyway. Carl, his influences. I don't know. Actually, I don't really know what his influences, but as a member of the band, he has the most eclectic interests. Especially now, we can like listen to stuff online, and he just comes out with these really odd recordings that he shares with us backstage. Currently, it's a lot. In recent years, it's been like a mixture of the Stranglers, Rush, lots of prog, and then he's been playing lots of French music. Johnny Halliday, he was really into Johnny Halliday for a while. So you know, we never know what to expect, and it's great, and it kind of feeds into our brains, and we start to, you know, adapt our music in that way and think, yeah, hey, why don't we sing in French?
pretty eclectic. Yes, it sounds like, yeah. Right. Listen, interesting that you can draw from all those influences like that. You know.
Yeah, we're not one of those bands. I don't know how many bands who actually say, hey, we all like these three bands and we want to sound like that. So when it comes to the bands, I think we just sounded like all we could play, really. Like I can't play more complicated than this right now. So I just come up with this riff, and then, you know, everyone's got their bit. And I think in a way we were really lucky with Carl. that he had a great voice.
Yeah.
Because he, as I say, he began on bass, and I actually took the bass off in mid-song because he was playing out of time.
Right.
I'll do that. You sing. You sing.
Yeah. You just
He stuck with it,
concentrate on the
and
singing.
it was like we were really lucky. He could sing.
Right. A nice fringe benefit there. Yes, exactly. Well, early on, you guys playing live, you began to gather a bit of a cult following.
Well, we did in Leeds. It was one of those things where we played small venues in Leeds. Leeds is a fantastic city for new bands starting up. At the time, loads of pubs and small venues to play. So we built up a little following, and we did a demo tape on a Porter studio. We were still students then, so there was a little access to a Porter studio in the what it was Leeds Polytechnic building, and that tape got into the hands of the band called The Wedding Present, who you must know.
Yes.
And they were on tour. This is a story where they were on tour, and they kind of like listened to all of the tapes they'd taken with them. So, has anybody got anything else to listen to?
Yeah.
A guy called Mike who was working with them. I said, well, I've got this tape of a band from friends of mine called Cud, and they listened to it, and I thought, oh, this is really good. And then when the tour finished, the drummer just happened to pass me in the street, and I was wearing a Cud t-shirt I'd printed myself. He says, hey, you in Cud? I said, yeah. And I recognized him. I knew The Wedding Present. He says, do you want to make a record? Do you want to put a record out on our label? I said, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So I went and rushed, but I was like, wow, I've only been going for a few weeks, and we were still at college. And I told the rest of the band. And so we went and spent £50 in a local studio, 8-track, and recorded 3 songs.
Was that David Gedge? Was that who you talked to? Or?
No, I talked to Sean Charman, the original.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went and recorded these songs really cheaply, assuming they would be the single, and passed them on to The Wedding Present. At the same time, we sent this tape off to John Peel. He was like, he had his radio show, and he was promoting new bands, and he had these radio sessions. But it was amazing timing, because he just announced on the radio that he was overwhelmed with the number of demo tapes. He couldn't possibly listen to them all. So he was saying, I'm going to put them aside, and I'm going to make an effort to listen to all the tapes that arrive from now. And we just sent one out. So he listened to it, liked it. Like within a week of us sending it, we had a call from the producer saying, hey, do you want to come to London and do a Peel session? So it was like, this was July or June, I think, 1987. We were in our last few weeks of Leeds Poly and our course. We had a record deal and a Peel session. And
it's like happening so fast like that.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then we blew it all by spending the Peel session money on a really bad recording of the first.
Oh, okay.
We should have stuck to that demo.
Just
we had this. I blame myself to an extent, because I had all this ambition, because they wanted a 12-inch, so I wanted to do a big long dance remix of one of our songs. And we worked with this really bad engineer who was the owner of the studio, and he didn't know how to do anything, and we didn't know how to do anything. So we bodged something together with the sound of a bang from a garage door as the drum beat. And it sounded pretty average.
But in hindsight, like you said, well, you did.
In hindsight, we should have released the demo, or we should have released the Peel session, which you've heard it, and they just made us sound amazing. We couldn't imagine us sounding like that. It was like, wow.
Good production on that, yes. Well,
it's Dale Griffin who produced that. He was a lot of the studio sessions for the BBC at the time. He's obviously he was the drummer for Mott the Hoople.
Mott the Hoople, I loved that with all his work with Mott the Hoople. Ian Hunter and all those guys. Well, the first single, Mind the Gap, was recorded on Reception Records, and that's still a nice track. I mean, I think it's lasted. It's even to this day, it's really a nice track.
Mind the Gap's a fun track. We rarely play those first songs now, but Mind the Gap, if you listen to the lyrics, it's all about the tube line towards where Carl used to live in East London. So he kind of judges everybody along the line,
Yeah.
whatever like that.
Right.
It's funny, for a few, like when I left the band, I actually ended up moving to somewhere on that line. So Forest Gate, where I lived, actually gets a mention.
Oh, okay. Well, here's a question that I do crosswords, and this one came up a few weeks ago. What is an anorak?
An anorak, oh,
Yeah.
in the UK.
Yes.
An anorak is someone who's like, it's, I suppose, a kind of nerd who knows all of the facts about something. I think it comes from train spotters, basically,
Yes. Yes.
because train spotters are known for like standing in lines in whatever weather with their anoraks on, with their
Right.
cameras, and making notes of numbers of the trains that come in. So yes, at certain time, what model engine. So if you're an anorak, like you can be a Doctor Who fan, Star Trek nerd, any of these kind of things.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's a generational slang because I asked some of the older guys and they didn't know what that was. They'd never heard anorak used that way. They knew the jacket, they knew the coat, but not the
I,
slang.
I did have an anorak for a short while when I was in Cud for a little.
Did you?
William Potter train spotter on the back.
Oh, did you? Hey, that rhymes too. You're a poet. There you
Oh,
go.
that's what I did it again.
Right. Right. Well, how did the band get signed to Imaginary Records?
Yeah, the imaginary. This is, I'm trying to think. We had a lot of problems with their early singles. After Reception, I think Reception kind of folded as an imprint, but it was put out by Red Rhino, and they agreed to release a second single by us. And then we got signed to a Scottish label for the third single. So all these labels were like, every time there was a new label, and we were struggling to get people involved. And then Imaginary were known for doing cover version compilations. They'd done what God, I can't remember all the bands they'd done before. They did a Captain Beefheart one with lots of bands covering Beefheart songs, and then they invited us to submit a song for a Kinks compilation, and we did Lola for that, and we also did Urban Spaceman for a Bonzo Dog Doodah Band
Oh,
cover
yeah.
version album.
Yes, yes.
So they liked us and found out we hadn't got a label and invited us to make an album for the label. I think we bankrupted the label. I'm not sure. I don't know the details. Anyway, they put out When in Rome Kill Me. It wasn't an expensive album to record. We did it cheaply, of course. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. But yeah, the album did well. It did well in the indie charts. It still has a huge following, and we were still getting played on John Peel. We had a song called "Only a Prawn in Whitby" on there, which was a
Yes.
fan favorite,
Yeah.
and still is. So yeah, it was great. They released it. I think what was the problem with Imaginary is that after that album, we got headhunted by a major label. So they could no longer benefit from the band by releasing new stuff.
Right.
Uh,
They
yeah,
couldn't compete.
Alan Duffy ran the label, and he was a great guy, and it's a little home industry, really nice.
Right. They couldn't compete with a major label like that.
Well, we were still kind of at that point still signing on.
Yeah.
A lot. It's not so common now that bands can exist on welfare,
Right.
because
Yeah.
there were various schemes you could do where you could set up like a little business and still get some benefits, and we all did that, so we could so keep the band going and have some flexibility to play gigs and record, but didn't starve.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, interesting. You mentioned a couple of covers that you guys did for the Imaginary label. Uh, you guys did the cover of "Living in the Past," Jethro Tull's "Living in the Past," and you did it justice. I mean, it's a nice cover. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike plays a little riff from Mission Impossible in the middle there.
Yes.
I
Yes.
really thought you were going to mention "You Sexy Thing." So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose actually, when it comes to covers, that's the one it took us the longest to live down, because we did that as a lark on our very first Peel session,
Oh.
and as a result, we got a lot of attention, and it got to, I think, number 20 in the year's Festive 50. So this is like a public vote for the favourite tracks by Peel's listeners. So that they rush released that Peel Session EP, and we just had to keep playing that song over and over again, hoping that people might listen to our songs as well.
Right.
But then what do we do? The next time we did a Peel session, we did another cover version, and then the third Peel session, we did another cover version. So it
Well,
became
do you still play? Do you still play "You Sexy Thing" live?
Very rarely. I think we'll play it on our very last gig, I think.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I like the original as well.
Yeah, we like the original.
Mentioning all of these, influences and covers, and the band itself was very hard to pigeonhole or label. So, you would go out in different directions like that, very esoteric. And
That's
so,
a good thing and a bad thing. When it comes to record labels and marketing departments, they don't know what to do.
right, 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 right. But you did mention, drawing that kind of fan that liked that, you,
Yeah.
but as far as it is, they want to put you in a certain category, the label does, and hard to market, like you said as well. But I don't think you guys were any worse for the wear though, as far as.
No, sometimes, I mean, obviously when we started out, having things like a record label or Peel session was like, that was the top achievement. It's like, wow,
Yes,
we
right.
fulfilled our dreams. Let's split up. But you go on and think like, hey, maybe we can make an album. Maybe we can tour outside Leeds.
Right.
So you get more ambition, and then you'd like to be able to do it professionally, so you can spend all your time writing and like working on new albums, stuff like that. So yeah, we got ambitions. When I think back to things we do, I'm really proud of what we achieved. But then, of course, there's a little bit of me thinking like, oh, I wish we'd done that. I wish we had.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to still be doing this in
Yeah.
2025.
Well, talking about bigger labels, Imaginary folded and the band moved to A&M.
Yeah. We put ourselves about. We had a manager by then who was trying to find a label for us. A lot of bands from our era had already signed deals. Bands like the Wedding Present had signed to RCA, the Wonder Stuff had signed. So we were one of the last bands who were like selling out 1,000 capacity venues around the UK, who didn't have a major deal.
Yeah.
So we had a few sniffing around, and we chose A&M, partly for nostalgic reasons, because it was one of those quirky things. We liked the old easy listening albums,
Yeah.
the and the Sandpipers.
Oh, that's funny you just said that, because that was one of the first listening, memories for me of hearing music was Herb Alpert. My dad had those old albums, and I still have a couple of his. Yeah, I love that sound.
We used to with Sergio Mendes and Brazil '66 and all that stuff.
Oh,
so we had
yes.
a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
We were listening to a lot of that stuff. We were on tour. We liked the logo, the trumpet. So
Yes.
we insisted on the old logo, and we did the back of the sleeve to look like one of those old albums to say also on A&M. And
Yes.
it had like 3 albums
Right.
related. So we made up some fake sleeves.
Yeah.
That had 3 other albums on A&M.
Right. Yes.
So we went to the States and we met Jerry Moss.
Oh, did you?
Disappointed we didn't meet Herb, but we posed in front of his car lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What a studio he had there as well.
Yeah, we went to the old Charlie Chaplin studios.
Yes, Charlie Chaplin.
We were there. Lucky it survived because we went there a week after the LA riots. So like the fire, all the fires had stopped just a block away, and it's like, had it hit there, obviously everything would have gone.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
There's a footprint. I think there's a footprint of Charlie Chaplin in the car park as well.
Oh, yeah. I've heard stories of that. People recording there and that kind of thing. Well, the album Asquarius reached number 30 in the UK charts. It did fairly well.
Yeah. I mean, it's on the back of Rich and Strange, which was the single that A&M just picked out and said, this is the one we're going to push. And it did, and it got to 24, and like we were a legit band.
Right.
I think actually they were surprised. Our previous singles had done quite well and just approaching the top 40. I think they didn't think that we were going to be on that level, so they put a bit more money behind Rich and Strange, and yeah, it took off, and that is our biggest hit, and we cannot not play it
Yeah.
for now. But yeah, it was an amazing time, 1992, with that single and that album.
Yeah.
You know, we were at our height. We were playing all over the UK. We went over and played some gigs in the States and France, and yeah, we're enjoying like.
How was that playing over here? How many tours did the band have in the States?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to regrets, the things we never achieved,
Yeah.
the tours around the world, we didn't do very much internationally. So what we did in the States is we did a lot of meet and greets. So they wanted to introduce, when we went to LA in '92, the studio, it was to meet the A&M company, all the record pluggers, all that. So we did 5 dates, some on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and they said, "Hey, we must have you back. Get you in a bus, traveling across the States, playing all the venues," and it never happened. I think we might have disappointed them with our behaviour when we were over there.
Oh,
Uh,
you think?
it's like, just it's I don't know. It happens with a lot of British bands. They go over there with a bit of attitude, think they're big in the UK. I think it's going to be in the States, and then in the States it's like, you're not very professional. Why are you going out drinking all the time? Why are you so late? We got like, you can't turn up to a radio interview with a massive hangover.
Yeah.
Half an hour late. And we were invited for cocktails with the like the press guys' parents,
Oh,
and I was the only member of the band who went.
is that right? Is that right?
We don't want to do that. We want to hang out and go to some bars, have a look around, and why do we don't want to do? We don't want to hang out with record company people, but
Yeah.
that's exactly what we should have been doing. And so we got some kind of bad reputation, and we didn't get invited back.
Okay, different than some.
And frankly, what happened next? So Aquarius, they released it in the States. It got some airplay on college radio. It wasn't a big hit. They sent us to the studio. They wanted a more American, international sounding album. They put us with the producer from who worked with Frank Black. We produced Showbiz. We were really proud of it. Thought like, this is big. This is going to go international. And they never released it in the States.
Yeah, why? That was my question. I was going to ask you.
I don't know. It sounded just right.
Yeah.
Al Clay, the producer, had made one of the songs which was a bit ploddy.
Yeah.
It was a song called Neurotica, and he made it into this like big rock song. It sounded unlike anything else we'd done. They stuck it out as a single. But another thing, they also sat on the album for about a year, so any momentum we had was lost.
Yeah.
In the UK, Britpop just started to take off then. So we were on tour with Showbiz when Blur's Park Life came out. Definitely Maybe came out shortly after. And so there's a whole new genre coming out. And Cud, we're not cool. We were last, the last kind of wave. So we were going, we were doing our best to carry on, but we didn't have very much record company support at that point. We were getting short on money because they had, you get paid per album. And when they sit on the album for a year, that money, has to last for 2 years instead of 1. And so, without record company support, you can't go on tour. You can't afford to go on tour, and you need something to promote. If you haven't got any records, you don't go on tour. All these kind of things put a lot of pressure on the band, and it was kind of tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Proud of the records, and we happily play a lot of that stuff now. But it was a tricky time.
Yeah. Well, you guys were working on a 6th album with around 80 demos recorded.
Yeah, we did loads of demoing. That's basically what happened. After that album, they just kind of turned loads of stuff down. We'd work through loads of songs, record loads of stuff, send it to them, and they say, "We don't hear another Rich and Strange here. Go back, write some more."
Yeah.
Mike was doing his hardest. Mike was at that point the sole songwriter, with Carl doing the lyrics. We were losing heart, and all the members of the band, really, apart from Mike, who was working really hard. The rest of us were like, either turning up late or not doing practicing, not doing very much. So it was kind of soul destroying, and it came to a point. Well, I thought that this is not going anywhere. I had other ambitions to become a comic artist, and this is finished. This,
Right. Oh,
so
oh,
I quit,
yeah.
and they carried on doing more demos with a guy called Mickey Dale on bass, as a good friend of the band. Is now the Embrace keyboard player.
Yeah.
And they never did another gig, never did another record, and
Yeah.
split up in about a year later.
Yeah.
Just and fought over whatever equipment and money they had. So big falling out that I avoided.
Yeah.
I
Right.
managed to stay friends with all of them
Yeah.
in the meantime and hang out with
So,
them.
sounds like you got out at a good time. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I got 3 months payout of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And it took me a little while to set up and get my other career on the
well,
go.
I want to I want to talk about that, but first, thankfully, at least the demos would show up on Donkey with a Fez on.
That's
that
that's
CD.
Carl thing. That's when I was saying we made up some albums for A&M. That was
Yeah.
one of them. That Carl just took the cover that
Yeah.
I and then I'd stuck the demos on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we got to re-release stuff, we put a few of those extra tracks on there.
Yeah.
And that's the story. The next part of the story is that you mentioned 2006. At that point, a fan of the band got the job of dealing with the back catalogue for Universal Records, who owned all our back catalogue. So he got in touch with me and says, would you be interested in us releasing a kind of greatest hits compilation? So of course, yeah, none of our records were available at that point. So yeah, you did it. So we met up with him. I got Carl and Steve together for a meeting in London, and they said what they wanted, and they said, would you be interested in doing some press? I said, sure. How about some gigs? And they said, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. So after the meeting, me, Steve, and Carl discussed it, and agreed to get together. But the drummer stipulated he didn't want Mike to be in the band because he still bore grudges from like 10 years ago, which was ridiculous. So we got together he had a friend on guitar called Felix. We did a couple of years of shows, which we were surprised that people still remembered who we were. We had to do things like social media we hadn't done before.
Right.
MySpace page.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
those.
I did a MySpace page. It still
Huh?
exists.
Oh, it does it.
Yeah, and well, until the drummer decided he'd had enough, we did a last show, so I don't want to play anymore. And he took his guitarist friend with him. So me and Carl looked at each other, and I said, "Should we invite Mike?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the best thing about getting Mike back in was the fact that Mike and Carl, any problems they'd had 10 years before, all washed away. They're
Oh,
friends now, and I love it. The fact there was also no animosity between us, and the new drummer was really friendly and kept everyone bonded together. And so we're a happy band, friends.
You,
Go out on
I was
tour.
going to say, and you guys hadn't in those 10 years hadn't lost a step, right? I mean, just like
No, it was the first rehearsals we did. It was like, I obviously had to go home and try to work out the bass part. Felix was a trained musician, so he got it really well. But I just locked in with the drummer, and I thought, wow. And the singer Carl remembered all the words, so it's like muscle memory after 10 years. It's like, wow, this is
there
great.
you go. There you go. Like getting right back on the bicycle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The compilation, the anthology, Rich and Strange, is what you're referring to.
Yes.
Came out in 2006, and messaging you prior to this, I told you my first taste of the band was the complete BBC sessions that came out in 2012, 4 CDs. Yeah, on that.
It was the same guy. I'll give him a credit. Julian Fernandez was the guy who put that out. After he worked at Universal, he set up another record label, and he asked if we want to put the Peel sessions together. And we ended up like going through all of my files and all of my tapes kept of every single local radio station recording we did. And I knew there was a really good live recording from about 92 or 94 that the BBC had done and put out on the air. And I really wanted to release that. It's probably the best live recording of the band. So I was really glad that was all put together. The Peel sessions just sound great. The live track is great. And then there's all this other stuff that's like copies from mono, copied off the radio by me in mono with a few tracks and stuff like
Right, right. I wanted to go. We've touched on a couple of songs before, but some of my favorites off of the BBC sessions, of course, "Mind the Gap,"
that.
which we talked about earlier. "Don't Bank on It." I like the rawness in that
I'll
track.
take credit for that one. That's one of
Oh,
my
okay.
all
All right.
those rough and ready ones are like, oh,
Right.
Mike came in and smooth the edges.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a nice sound, and I'm sure that a lot of fans like that too. That sound too.
Yeah, there's something about that's very typical of the kind of songs that I write, where there'll be lots of like strange stops and starts. Dun 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 dun. I thought, dun, 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 dun. Oh,
Right.
it's a great one to play, and it just like goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, well, also punishment reward relationships. I like the groove. I
Sorry,
like
you're
the
picking all the best ones. You're picking all the ones that I wrote.
Okay. I like the well. I must have known something. I mean, I'm psychic here. I don't know.
But that one, I wrote the bass part of that playing along to Public Enemy.
Oh, okay.
If you're on their first album, there's a track called "Sophisticated Bitch."
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's a sample,
Yeah.
but I thought because hip hop records were just great to play with,
Yeah.
play bass with, because you've got this just rhythm with not much kind of music on the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just use them to jam with and come up with some bass parts. So yeah, punishment reward relationship came as a result of playing along to that.
Oh, is that right? I'll have to go back and listen to that Public Enemy.
Go listen to that, and it's same kind of tempo.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
play the dun 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 dun
Yes.
to sophisticated.
Yes. There you go. Yes. Epicurean's Answer. One of my favorite Cud tracks. That's one of my favorite of all of your material that I've heard. Yeah.
I like you. I like you. I didn't write many songs. I didn't write many songs. That's the only one on that album I wrote.
Is that okay?
In those early days, we credited everything to everyone. It was fair share. Everyone got. We weren't turning big royalties. Then when we signed to a major label, Mike was doing 95% of the songwriting. So he said, "Can I have my credit? We'll share the money, but can I have the credit?" And so we agreed to that. But yeah, Epicurean's Answer is another of my ones.
No, there's something. I like your taste. I gotta say.
I don't know where that one came from. It's actually we've done we've been going because we came back 10 years ago. We've done longer than that. But we've done all of those like heritage kind of shows. We play the whole album. We play all the singles with like 20 years of this, 30 years of this. Or we've done all that. So we've played all those albums. Epicurean's Answer is so hard to play now. All of those early songs, I used to break strings all the time.
Did
Because I
you?
just hammer it really fast like that. Like David Gedge's all his early wedding present ones. And you get older and your wrist hurts and you want to play a bit more sophisticated.
Yes.
So all those songs are like Epicurean's Answer.
Right.
And that's for 4 minutes. And it's like, oh, God.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh,
I don't know how you kept that up. At least at least David's songs were short, but they're going 4 minutes, and then the Ramones, talking about the Ramones too, theirs were short too.
Yeah, but they still and then they played about 50 songs in a set.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Cram them all in. Well, I like the guitar in Vocally Speaking is well. I like that. That's a nice guitar. Right. And that one. And then of course Robinson Crusoe, another track that one of my favorites. Great guitar groove. And that one reminds me of that early 70s sound, going back to the 70s. Yeah.
That was another one. We recorded that, and we were starting to listen to or be influenced by a lot more of the dance music. And I said I was listening to Public Enemy and De La Soul at the time, and so was Carl. So that kind of fed in, and there was and we were going to clubs for dancing, rather raves and stuff, rather than going to see bands. So a lot of bands started to get bongo players and stuff. And we had a friend who played percussion, so we developed that song with the producer to make this kind of 6 minute long kind of groovy track. And then instead of doing anything with it, we buggered off to Germany and Poland to do a tour where you couldn't buy our records. When we came back, there was things like Primal Scream had released Loaded, Happy Mondays were released Hallelujah, and all this. And it's like, oh, we've got Robinson Crusoe here that we like would fit with all that, and we've done nothing with it. So we re-recorded it and stuck it out, but we were like, oh, Carter, they're just like copying everybody else.
Oh, then it looked like that, right? Yeah, that was.
But anyway, regardless, that whole scene in and around 1990, where there was a crossover of dance and indie, was really good for us, and all bands, indie bands, because a lot of people were going to gigs and they were going dancing right to the back. It was not about guitar like rock so much as like a kind of dance sound groove.
Yes.
They were really fun shows to play. They're really busy. People were really enjoying themselves. We get loads of stage invasions, people dancing on stage. It was amazing.
That whole Manchester.
And then after the show, we just go to the club. It's great.
Right. Nice time. Exactly. Well, sometimes wrongly, sometimes rightly. I'm sure you're aware or have been told the guitar groove sounds a lot like Brown Sugar.
I haven't been told that, but that's a Mike song, so it's quite possible.
Okay. Go back and listen to that.
They haven't so far. The Stones haven't sued us.
No,
I've never heard it.
Right. It could be.
There are some songs, I know there's some really obvious songs that sound like, oh my god, that sounds. No, I dread. There is a song that it really sounds like a Jagger Richards song. I'm not going to name it. It was like I wasn't aware of it at the time, and then I heard the song on, and then thought, oh my god, yeah, it's like it's fed into Mike's ear and it's come out. It's like this. I do hope I don't get in trouble for it.
Right. All right. Well, this could be subconsciously too. I know your influences come out in the music, so it might have been something inadvertently.
We had another song called Pink Flamingo. Well, it wasn't called that when it was just music. And Carl heard it and he said, it sounds like a crossover between Pretty Flamingo and Norwegian Wood. So instead of like trying to disguise that, he wrote lyrics. I once met a girl like a flamingo. So,
right. It's just kind of meshed together, both songs.
Oh my god! So we're gonna. We did actually. I think it was actually put by Paul McCartney, and he says too many notes from Norwegian Wood. You need to change it. So we had to get down to maximum of 3 notes. It either had to be completely unlike it, or it had to be a cover version of Norwegian Wood.
Okay.
We changed it. Carl still sang those words to make it.
You didn't hear from Manfred Mann. Yeah. It's like it's not good enough to be sued by one artist. We need to be sued by 2. Here.
I need to check. They're not subscribing to your channel, are they?
No. I don't think there's any danger of that happening. No. I don't think guys like that watch my channel.
You're not interviewing them next week. Is it? Hey, I was
no. I don't think. No. Well, one more track that I like is "The Mystery Deepens." I like.
Oh
that.
I like that one. I think that should have been a single off.
Yeah, it is single material. It sounds
this one for me it sounded a little bit like it sounded like a continuation of what we were doing before, and a little bit like Suede, who were cool at the time. The lyrically, I thought it was kind of really witty, but the record company were keen on trying to break us into a completely different audience. So they sat on the album, so we were kind of like half forgotten, and then they released Neurotica and followed it up with a ballad. And it's like our fans were going, "What the hell is this?" So our fan base was
you lost them
going away, and they were trying to get us radio play in all these other places that had no interest.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, they just did not understand
It
us
didn't.
or our fan base.
It didn't
They were
resonate. No.
trying to push us in another direction.
Yeah.
There was one meeting I remember with the head of A&R, who we went in. He was listening. He was watching country and western TV station.
Oh, okay.
And he says, "That's the way to go. You country and western.
Yeah.
That's what we need."
Yeah, I can see that. I can just see that. That would really confuse your fans. Yeah.
If he could have sent us to Nashville and got us
Yeah.
some session musicians
Oh,
like
right.
he would have done it.
He would have. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Talk about upending the band. Oh well. Before talking about your moving to the comic art, what did the other briefly? What did the other members do post Cud?
Well, Carl worked in an off license. If you know where that is, it's like a liquor store.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was in Leeds, and
he didn't drink. He didn't drink up.
He got recognized.
I was going to say he didn't drink up the profits, did he?
He didn't, but he actually became a wine buff, and he's a wine snob now. He really knows his wines.
Oh.
So that's on his rider. He insists on a very good kind of like country French wine. He has a wine cellar.
Oh, really?
But yeah, he got hassled. So people will come in and say, "Yo, Carl from Cud, will you sign my receipt?"
Yeah.
It became such a problem that they moved into another branch outside Leeds. After that, now he's involved in printmaking, teaching printing to underprivileged people and stuff like that. Steve disappeared down south. I went to his wedding. He works in Leeds, but we don't see him anymore. Mike got into teaching and became an assistant headmaster.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
He perfectly suited him because of the way he he took charge and punished us. Berated us.
Yeah, berated.
I'm leaving the band. The band, if you don't turn up on time. But
so you saw that.
Any of this kind of early stuff? No, we softened now.
Yeah.
And we take the piss out of each other all the time.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, he did that for a while. But actually, no. Before he did that, he did manage another band. He tried to stay in the business. He wrote some songs. He managed a band called Cube. He worked with Sharon Osbourne for a while. She co-managed.
Okay.
He was like, there was one weird moment. He was walking through Leeds with Sharon Osbourne and Malcolm McLaren.
Oh, wow.
Interested in the band. So yeah, he'd come down to London and crash at my house while he was working with the band and having all these record company meetings. And he wrote music for other bands, and yeah, so he was keen on continuing that. But he didn't in the end. After a couple of years, that dried up, and he just became a teacher.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about your segue into comic art.
Well, the comic thing was going on when I was in the band, and I got into trouble in the early days for going to a comic convention instead of a gig. Because at the last minute, we got invited to play this festival in the Shetland Isles, and I said I can't go. I'm going to this comic convention with my portfolio. I need, I'm going to show it to lots of people. So I got into real trouble, and they said, like, you have to make a choice: the band or comics. And in the end, I didn't need to make that choice. I did both, and through the band and fans of the band, I got work published in a comic called Deadline, along with other creators like Philip Bond and Jamie Hewlett, who you might know from Gorillaz.
Yes.
His first professional published work was a character called Tank Girl.
Tank Girl, yes. I like that style. I like his style. I really do, yeah.
Yeah. There was a whole bunch of them based in Worthing who I became friends with and hang out and work on their comics. And they all went off and they're still successful in various areas. And I did my comics for a while and pushed it. It was never became really big for me. I showed off my portfolio when I moved to London to an editor, and she liked the writing and invited me to help as an editor. And that became that's what I did. I pretty much gave up. I did a little drawing, a few covers,
We'll,
posters.
we'll talk a little bit about the cartoon strip Nomo.
Oh, no, that's what I did for Deadline. It was based on this short strip I did called The Girl with Fish Eyes. And I presented it to the editor, Bray Ewins, and he started to tell me a lot of cool stuff about it, like this fish god called Nomo, who was there was a tribe in somewhere in the middle of Africa who believed in this fish god, and they painted symbols of fish in caves and stuff like that. This is ancient stories, and it's all related to the constellation Orion and all this kind of weird stuff going on. So I read into that and came back with this story with the girl with the strange fishy eyes, and now there was a kind of reason for her to look like that, and she'd become influenced by this slightly pervy fish god. Nobody believed her, and she was bullied at school for it until this god turned up and started to bully her. And yeah, it was a fun thing to do, and I did come to a resolution at the end, and enjoyed working on that.
How long was that? How long did you, I was going to say, how long was that? How long did that last?
It lasted about a year, so like about 12 parts.
Okay.
And I actually rewrote it as a prose novel to try to get some publishers interested. But they weren't. It was just a little bit weird, I think. But that was going on while I was in the band, so I was, and then people like Jamie Hewlett and Philip Bond were fans of the band and producing artwork for our record sleeves. And promotional stuff. So that was a great kind of passing back and forth. And I stayed in touch with them. And when I left the band, I went to London with my portfolio and tried to get comic work. And as I said, I ended up doing writing more than editing. And I worked for lots of characters like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And
right. I was going to ask you to mention some of those. Yeah.
Captain Scarlet, Ice Age, Shrek. It was all great, I'd get involved in this world, and I actually wrote some Ninja Turtle comic strips and stuff like that, and I drew some of them for the States as well, which was fun.
Did you? Okay.
And I continued in that area, and now I do a mixture thing. So I write children's books, which this one's about physics, and it's full of comic strips as well. And this is and then a geezer, which let me get a loose one. So Geezer puts me back in touch with Philip Bond.
Okay.
Now
I have seen that on the internet. I think I've seen Geezer's reference.
You need to look it up. I can send you details later. Actually, this is set in. That's the Gallagher brothers. So this is set in the world of Britpop.
Yeah.
Because Philip's partner, his wife Shelley Bond, was a hugely important comics editor that in the 90s I tried my best to meet, because she could get you work in American comics at DC.
Yeah.
I never met her, but she employed everybody else, Jamie and Philip and Glenn and all these other people. And she worked for the company that got people like Alan Moore writing Swamp Thing and Neil Gaiman involved in the States. And after a time at DC, she set up her own imprint, or she set up an imprint, and I ended up. She saw my name on some kind of on social media and said, "Is that the guy in the band Cud you keep?"
Yeah.
So she got in touch, and I ended up working with her. I pitched this idea because I knew she was really into Britpop and British music and Bowie and all that. So I pitched this idea about a band who existed at the time of Britpop, but for some reason everyone's completely forgotten about. In a way, it's like the Spinal Tap of Britpop. So all the bands know of this band and think they're shit, and they're doing their best, and they're trying to, find their way, but they've got their own internal problems, stuff like that. And they go and hit all of the beats in the history of Britpop. They're at all the right parties, all the awards. That scene I just showed you is a famous moment where Graham from Blur was in the toilets at the Good Mixer pub in Camden, and Oasis turned up, and Noel Gallagher was nudging him while he was peeing, and so Graham complained and got them banned from the pub.
Oh,
I've got the fingering geezer there at the same time, gets headbutted by
yeah,
Liam Gallagher, and he gets banned as well.
yeah.
And
Okay.
there's a famously there was the Brit Pop Wars with Oasis and Suede. Sorry, Oasis Blur had a single out at the same time.
Oh, right, right, right.
Again, everyone forgets Geezer had a single out that same week as well, and he didn't get anywhere.
Right,
What was interesting in
right,
Oasis? Forget about Geezer.
right, right.
Yeah, we're on the third issue of this now, and Philip,
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things there you mentioned. Oasis, of course, how
Mm.
huge the band is. I mean, I talked to a guy recently, and he said there was a Irish guy. He said they were playing there in Ireland. He said
Yeah.
to about 1 trillion people. I just started laughing. I said that's probably not too far off, you know.
Well,
But
they could have sold the tour out many times. Yeah.
if you look on like I don't know if it's Amazon, Netflix, if you're looking up for like a band bio video or a history or concert videos, they have more than any other band. Oasis does. They've got many times more than any other band in history. It's like, wow, you know. I mean, I knew there were
It's strange, and it's
yeah,
not really surprising that
yeah,
a big part of coming back. So
yeah,
people still have so many fans.
yeah,
But yeah, when you go to a magazine store here,
yeah.
there are loads of Oasis specials, even
Yes, yeah,
magazines, stuff like that. Oasis special. We bumped into a lot of their fans on our recent tour because we just I can't remember where we were playing, but we stopped off at a service station after the show,
yeah,
and it was near Manchester, I think,
yeah.
where they just played. So the whole of the car park was full of these guys in the same black Oasis shirt, the same
Oh,
bucket hat with Oasis on it. They bought it on the merch stand there, and they were just
right.
swarming into the place. Oh
All of these
God,
clones.
let's get our coffee and get out of here.
Right, I would too. I would too. And the other thing you mentioned was um, Spinal Tap. You do know that the Spinal Tap 2 is coming out
Yeah,
next
Carl
month.
message today. Carl works with a guy who's in the film industry,
Yeah.
and apparently he's just been working filming them playing a gig at Stonehenge.
Right,
Wow.
right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't spoil, what was the
Not
perfect.
the original, right? I hope it doesn't either. But Paul's in it, Paul McCartney and Elton John.
Yeah,
They have
yeah. I
appearances.
watched the trailer a few times.
And the guys look haggard. They look old. I mean, they really do, you know. But
We had a special moment on the radio. I wish I got a recording of it. Was it Derek Smalls
yeah,
was interviewed on the radio.
yeah,
Was it Harry something? I can't remember. He was interviewed on the radio by someone who's a fan of Cud,
yeah.
and this guy played Cud on the radio during that session, and he asked him to introduce the song as Derek. And he was like,
Oh, okay.
"It's the indie sound of British man."
Yeah,
I thought,
right.
wow! Oh, I really wish I had that.
That would be something. Exactly. Well, going back to Cud, 2007, I can't say it, in 2008, Universal reissued and remastered the Cud albums with extra tracks. Yeah, so that's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, I was, at that point, I chose the songs.
Right.
Involved, it's like I say, hey, Mike, do you mind just doing this? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of took over a little bit then. Chose the tracks, wrote the sleeve notes and stuff like that. Because that is a list. They're my favorite tracks from the history of Cud.
Um,
And, obviously, I included the singles, and then I picked choice album tracks that I really liked. So I'm really proud of that compilation. I think it really shows us off well. It's like the first CD is all the kind of indie stuff, and then the second
yeah.
CD, all the major label stuff.
Right.
So,
Another track I wanted to
I don't think that's available anymore. I think,
yeah. Well, another track, a more recent one, I guess I wanted to mention. I like the video for Victoria, with all the old clips interspersed in it. You know.
yeah, because he can't get us together to film something in front of a camera.
Right. Right.
But yeah, Carl edited that together.
Yeah.
And there's another video for the follow-up single, Switched On.
Yeah.
It was during COVID, so we filmed stuff at home, and just I think Michael, someone just edited together stuff like that. At that time, until the end of last year, I was based in the south of the UK, and the rest of the band were in Leeds. So getting together regularly for filming, recording was a bit difficult. So we generally only got together when we were working on a new single, or we were working, rehearsing for a tour. Now we can get together much more, and hopefully we might have be a bit more prolific, maybe one song a year, something like that.
Well, that's better than none. That's for sure.
We have got some stuff stored up. We've been forever going on about this, the next album.
Okay.
But instead of focusing on it, we ended up just letting a few songs out every year or so. We've released the equivalent of an album, but it's all in dribs and drabs. We've still got we've got a couple of songs in the bank, and we're working through more new material every time we get together to rehearse. So I don't know about a new album, but there will be more new stuff from the band, to legitimize our existence.
Yes, there you go. You have to do that. Well, how have the recent live shows gone?
They were great fun. It kind of started the Seaside Tour in that we got invited to play this festival in a place called Skegness, which is on the coast. It's where I used to go for holidays when I was a kid. And then I said, hey, it's nice to play some seaside shows in the summer rather than just playing all the big cities we do every year. So we got on it. Our tour managers booked all these venues like Brighton and on the south coast, and Hastings, Bournemouth, Blackpool. They weren't the biggest venues because they're not the biggest towns and cities, but it was a great experience. Every day was a different part of the coast. We had great weather and really enthusiastic crowds in these quite compact pubs and clubs, and so yeah, it was worthwhile. And then later this year we're playing another coastal venue, Whitby. I mentioned a song that was one of our favourite songs from the band history, called "Only a Prawn in Whitby."
Right.
But we've never ever played Whitby, and we're playing there.
Hey, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah.
So we made it special. We've booked a hotel with a ballroom. We booked other bands to make it an all-day event, only a day in Whitby.
Yeah.
So yeah, if
you may be surprised they may be coming out of the woodwork, fans there in Whitby, that you didn't know about.
The thing sold out really quickly. So so there was some enthusiasm for it. It's a bit of responsibility for us to put it on our own mini festival. We've got Miles Hunt from the Wonder Stuff playing with us in a band called Ultrasound, who were like Brit pop kind of thing. So yeah, it's a bit varied, and
right. And
work out what we're going to play, apart from only Whitby, which we have.
Right. Well, you won't have to work out what you play for the Leggy Mambo 35th anniversary show. Yeah.
That's going to be a hard thing. Playing those album shows is always a bit of a task because there's loads of songs that you never played live.
Never played before.
So you have to work out how they go, and yeah, it's a challenge. It's surprising. Sometimes you think, hey, actually, this is quite a good song. Why did we never play this one?
Yeah, right.
So we are playing other shows around that, but that's the only one we're playing the whole album.
Okay.
So we'll rehearse some of those tracks during the other shows.
Yeah. Okay. To get up to speed. Yeah. November 7th, right? That's when
that sounds right. Yeah, London, Islington Academy. Yeah. But yeah, that was our last major label. That was on Imaginary, last indie album. It's probably our favorite album. We still play more tracks from the album than any other. It's the one with Robinson Crusoe, and I think it sounds really polished, really pop. Great production from Dave Gregory from XTC.
Yeah,
I love the sleeve. It's the best sleeve of all those we did. So everything came together for that album, I think.
Right.
It went downhill after that album.
Well, not completely all downhill. Yeah. Well, that sounds good, Will. Anything else kind of coming to a close here? Anything else you'd like to mention or plug, or that we might have overlooked, or anything?
No, well, kind of still going. We always talk about doing that final tour and never get around to it. And we have got some bookings for next year. so it looks like we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary at some point. Hard
Yeah, yeah.
to
I
think
think,
of that. Geese are still ongoing, so you can find it online, and you can buy it in the States and in the UK as well.
yeah.
Doing some comic conventions.
Oh, okay. Any over here?
No, Philip does them because Philip is based in LA.
Okay.
So he's well, Shelley did San Diego Comic Con. Don't think he's got any lined up this year, but he's coming over to do an event in the lakes at the end of next month.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll be together talking everything geezer there. That'll be fun.
There you go. All right. That sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Will, for doing this
You're very
and
welcome.
for sharing and going back in that time machine with me and all your recollections of your journey, your musical journey. So, and the band as well. All right. Well, I will send you a copy of this.
Yes,
Probably.
I'll share it with both of our fans.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
you know what it's like. British bands, most of them are self-deprecating, except for Oasis, who
Right.
just say we're the best band ever.
Right, right. There you go. You can always count on Oasis. Yeah, I will send you one probably about a week, and then yeah, share it like you said. Maybe you
Well,
have three fans now, man. Maybe. Well,
if you can,
so you can count me.
I
Yeah.
have one fan outside the UK. Yes.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All right. Well, it's been very enjoyable. I want to again thank you for your time and all the best to you. Okay, and
Take care.
continued success. And we'll be in touch. Stay in touch as well.
All right. Well done. Thanks very much. All right.